Okay, welcome to the summer session of Constitutional Law at Kingsborough Community College. I'm your professor, Jason Leggett. I'm going to go over the syllabus and as well as kind of how the course is organized, and hopefully that helps you navigate the course and helps you get started right away. So what you want to do is you want to get situated with Blackboard, get familiar with it. So what I've done is just pulled 3 screenshots here that give you an idea of what you're looking at. So one just shows you kind of the big picture, where the things are, the course content announcements, and if you scroll down you'll also see the discussion boards, and then further down that you'll see grades. There is an app. I don't use the app. I've looked at it a few times. It's a little confusing to me, so if you can from time to time, even if you're using the app, if you can from time to time use a computer or the website, right, which you can access from anywhere, the Blackboard website. You know, that might help you just get a sense of where things are if you ever get lost. From what I've seen the app, it's much more of like a checkbox kind of approach, which is not bad, but you can get confused from time to time. What you'll see are weekly folders, and you'll see more examples of that in a second. But what you'll have are assignments within that. And then as you complete those assignments, some of them, after I grade them, right, will come up in the grade book, and that's how you'll kind of know how you're doing, or you'll know what your grades are. You should be aware of the academic calendar of the summer because things kind of come and go very quickly. You should be checking your Kingsborough email for any updates from the registrar or other offices. And you can access the calendar by going to the website, kbcc.cuny.edu, going to quick links, and then going to academic calendar. What you'll see here is we get started pretty quickly, and then more or less what we have to do as faculty is verify that you've completed your assignments for the first week by June 27th. So again, that kind of just comes really quickly, and so you want to get off to a good start. So what you'll see is that I've organized everything by week. So week 1 work, week 2 work, week 3 work, week 4 work, week 5 work. And then in the syllabus you'll see those due dates. And so you should complete that work the week it's assigned. So week 1 would be completed by June 24th. Week 2 would be July 2nd, and so on. And then our final week, you'll have a little bit of room to get that prepped and done. You'll have a little bit of extra time, but that will be 8-1. A little bit about me. I've been teaching here at Kingsborough since 2010, so I'm going on my 13th year of teaching at Kingsborough, and I've been in New York for 15 years, originally coming from Seattle. I went to law school in Seattle, was a visiting research student here in New York, and then I've also done comparative legal research in Italy and Guatemala. I'm mostly interested in something called rights consciousness, and that examines kind of how everyday people use the legal system or think about the legal system in their everyday interactions to you know, even things that like the supermarket, right? How do you think about justice, equality, different aspects of legality? And so if you're interested in these things, or if you're interested in going to law school or doing something in the realm of the legal end of criminal justice, feel free to email me and we can talk about that, or try to figure out where you want to go. If you want to see more about my work or the other things that I participate in, you can go to my website. It's kind of under development. I'm adding things and rearranging things. But it does give you a good sense, and it also connects you to the other social media sites. Something I want to make sure that students are aware of, because you're not always aware of this, you should be getting emails as criminal justice students from the Justice Academy, as well as from your criminal justice advisors. And you want to you got to make sure you're getting these emails, because this is going to really help you when you transition to John Jay. So for those of you who are Justice Academy students, which all criminal justice majors are, you're automatically guaranteed acceptance if you meet certain requirements and a GPA to go to John Jay. And you kind of just continue your degree, and the degree that you get there, the degree that they've got you placed in, is called Institutional Theory and Practice. It's a Bachelor of Science degree that connects to Kingsborough. And so the way to think about it is, you're essentially already a John Jay student, but you're doing your first 2 years here at Kingsborough. And so we are, worked with them to align learning outcomes, program outcomes, and communications. And so you want to make sure you're kind of keeping on track of that. So how I do that is if you look at the course description, right, and then what this course, is focused on are the learning outcomes that you'll find in the textbook. And so I've taken the time to make sure that these are connected to your progression and your ability to do well as a transfer student. If you're not going to transfer to John Jay, or if you think you're going to the police academy, I think this course will still be helpful for you. But the vast majority of the students, most of them most of you go on to John Jay. And so I want you to kind of think about that way. Another thing I do that might be new to you is I use learning outcomes to help you think about how you're doing in the course. I get asked that question a lot, and that's hard to say, like, well, you've got 36 points, right? So you're doing 36 points. Instead, what I can do is I can look at your answers, and I can look at how we're talking to each other, and I can use the rubrics I've provided here, and there's a lot of different ones because they apply to different learning outcomes, so you can kind of zero in on what it is you think you want to really focus in on. But I can see, where you're at as far as maybe you need some revision, maybe you're working some things out or you're getting there, and then of course your goal would be to, you got it, you're where you're trying to get to. I'm going to ask you to think about these learning outcomes and be able to describe them, but again, try to pick something that you're really interested in. I've got an equity inclusion statement as a couple-year process I've been involved in with other teachers at Kingsborough, where we're looking at some of the opportunity gaps that many students face. And one of the big issues in criminal justice and law are that they often don't include multiple points of view. They're only putting forward a very traditional Anglo-Saxon point of view. So what I've done is recognized my own bias in this system, and then have pulled out injustices and examples that are now more relevant to people outside of just one culture, and now can be seen from a multicultural point of view. In addition, over the years, I've been applying more and more of intersectional analysis, which uses injustice based on race, class, gender, and sexuality, as well as culture and immigration status, to help you see that the problems in the system, as opposed to trying to look at problems in individuals. And here we're looking at the criminal justice system and how the legal system operates to perpetuate certain biases and discrimination. This is widely attributed to the scholar Kimberly Crenshaw, and there's others that you can read about. And if you're interested in more readings on this, they're in our textbook, but I can also recommend books or YouTube videos based on your particular interests. Now that leads me to the textbook. It's been designed with you in mind. The first edition of this textbook included student input, a lot of student responses, and some student design. The second one, we've kind of got even more closer to the learning outcomes, and we're really getting a little bit deeper into the kind of analysis that you're expected to do as criminal justice majors, and what you'd be expected to be able to do as a legal practitioner or a legal scholar, if that's something you're interested in down the road. The materials are available through the Conella store, which is online. It's over $80, and that's largely because of it goes to the costs of printing, but also the authors that we're quoting to, the readings that we're using. It costs money to pay for those readings, and so a portion of what you pay for in the textbook goes to those authors. And so something to think about if you're struggling financially, of course, is if you're in the ASAP program, you can get a textbook voucher, and so you should reach out to your ASAP advisor about that. There's also some copies in the library. If you go to the physical library at Kingsborough, you can check it out for a period of time there in the library and get your reading done there. And if you're struggling even more, right, you can reach out to me and we can try to figure something out, or I can put you to some additional resources that might be useful to you. When you go to the website, and you could go to the Kingsborough bookstore, it's a little bit more expensive there, or I think there's copies on Amazon, which I again think it's more expensive there. But if you go to the link I provided, you have two choices. You can get the print version, but please understand, right, if I'm hoping you buy it as soon as possible. I've been sending emails to remind you, but it's going to take time to ship to you. They do give you the first part of the book in a electronic form, but you could also just get the book in electronic form and you'd have it immediately. And so that's something to think about, whether that's going to work for you. But I can't stress enough that the textbook is not required, yes, absolutely, but it's the whole basis of everything you're going to do in the class. So sometimes students ask, am I actually going to use it? And it's shameful that there are classes in which they're making you buy textbooks or not, and they don't use the textbook. We rely on the textbook. It would be very difficult to pass this class without it. For example, you see these cases here. What I've done is I've excerpted them, meaning I've cut them down to be more manageable and focusing just on the issues that we care about in this class. You could look up some of these cases and read the whole case yourself, although that would be a great burden that I'm not even sure law students would be very good at. So it wouldn't be a good idea, in other words. Sometimes students try to rely on briefs that they find on the internet. I always kind of joke, but I'm serious, you get what you pay for, so it's free, and so you're getting pretty garbage information. And sometimes students try to use that information in the class, and first of all, that's plagiarism, so you could get in trouble for that. But second of all, they're the wrong answers. That's what I mean by you get what you pay for. It's free, so you're not really getting good information, and so they're very obvious. And they're very obviously wrong because you're not applying it within the framework of the reader and of the learning outcomes. So each kind of thing is going to build on you doing the reading. Then you're going to participate in a discussion board and/or a quiz, and there's sometimes an assignment that asks you to go a little bit deeper and to start thinking about to help you prepare for some of the harder work that happens going on later in the semester. Or in this 6 weeks, which is very quick. Again, let me remind you. So then that kind of, most students then at that point want to know how am I going to be graded, and so you'll find in the syllabus it talks about these different categories which are up to different points based on the quality of your work, the largest really being the discussion boards and how you engage with others. You need to make sure that you're using material from the reader as well as your own interpretation of it, and sometimes you're asked to quote directly to it with a page number. And then to comment on each other's posts in a way that are thoughtful and that are instructive, and not just saying, oh, I agree with you, or oh, I disagree, or a good point. You need to get a little bit more, so you're showing me that you're engaging with the information. That's how you can get the most possible points. Quizzes are based pretty much on reading comprehension and application. And then there's a syllabus review assignment, so after this you're going to take a syllabus review. That's 10 points. There's a sovereignty assignment that really gets into one of the readings. There's the final exam at the end. And again, I've provided grading rubrics to help you kind of see how your progress is going. And then over here on the point scale, you'll see what you would need to do to get the grade that you're hoping to get. So week 1 work, again, is due no later than June 24th, so that's right away, and there's quite a bit you have to get through. There's the kind of introductory stuff. You got to read the syllabus, complete the syllabus review assignment, introduce yourself on discussion board, and then get right into the readings. And what I've done, because this is a shortened course, is let's just start off with the criminal justice issues first and foremost, because those are probably the most familiar to you. So those are going to be found on pages 80 to 95 and 152 to 168, where you're going to start just getting introduced to these concepts. You should also look at the learning outcomes on page 132 just to see what you're looking for. What are you trying to think about as you move forward? And then for discussion board 2, you're going to be comparing and contrasting, or you're going to be comparing these readings and putting them into a concept. There's an extra credit assignment that you can get started on right away if you just want to make sure that you don't take any chances. It's not a summary of the case of Dobbs v. Jackson, so please do not tell me anything about that case as far as what you find on Wikipedia or on the case file. That's not what I'm looking for. I'll give you 0 points for that. I'm looking for more, what are people saying about it? What do you see about it on social media, whatever news sources you get, especially if it's on the internet or through email subscriptions. What do your family and friends think about it? What do they say? What's the kind of general idea that's circulating about this case, or the concept of abortion, more generally, if people don't talk about the case specifically. Another thing to think about, what if an assignment is late? You're not punished in this class, so you're not going to get any points taken away from you. However, especially in a 6-week course, the further you get behind, the harder it's going to be for you to pass. So you really need to try to get the assignments done at the beginning of the week. Some of you wait till the very last day, Sunday, and it's not a very good strategy because you're going to run out of time at the end of the semester, and you're going to be making up 2 weeks worth of work when you should be focusing on your final exam. Sometimes you're going to get behind, and you're going to try to catch back up, and of course, try to do that. But make it a habit to try to get the work done earlier in the week, so you have more time to review, organize your notes, and start preparing. If you're getting behind, the key here is to communicate to me. Don't wait to this last minute, and don't suffer in silence, right? Let me know what's going on. But you should also be aware, right? If you're getting behind, that means we're not getting the benefit of your work in the discussion boards. I'm not able to analyze it as to what the class is doing. I don't know how to help people. And so, you're kind of making it harder for all of us. So again, please, if you can, please try to keep up with the work and stay ahead. If not, please reach out to me. Email me as soon as possible. Now, again, I want to go back over the extra credit just because, again, it's not a summary of readings, and that's the second thing. There's, a couple extra credit assignments here. So I provided an example from a student from last semester where they tell me, right, where did they get the information, what are they hearing about it, and then they go on in the rest of their paper to talk about, specific examples of what they got from family and friends and what they saw on social media. That's what we're looking for in these kind of extra credit assignments. They're more about summarizing your ideas about the topic and then putting forward some kind of application as it applies to our class. Same kind of thing when you are asked this question for the other extra credit assignment, which comes at the end of the textbook reader. And so I'm giving it to you now so you can take your time and try to think about it. You want to try to apply that to the learning outcomes. That's how you get the most points, right? I can't give you full points if you're not applying concepts from the class. Now, if you're struggling, or not just struggling, right? If you're struggling, there are services available. There's tutor.com, there's a tutoring service at Kingsborough. There's a series of online resources. There's also accessibility resources. There's the Men's Resource Center. There's the Women's Resource Center. Right? There's a lot of resources that are available to you to help you not have to worry about anything other than school, right? So you try to get all those things taken care of. I was first in my family to go to college, working the whole time. So I took advantage of these services. You should take advantage of these services early as possible, so then you can focus on your studies. There is a new Office of there's an interim Office of Equal and Opportunity Diversity Manager, but the location V231 and the telephone number should still be the same. But if you are having an issue with a discriminatory practice on campus, you can also reach out to me and I can help you with that. Then there's the support services within the Criminal Justice Academy itself, and so the program director at Kingsborough is Dr. Vonda Seward, who teaches corrections classes. She's the person you want to talk to for any program-related issues. We've also got some advisors over in the MAC building, or you can call them or email them, and then you've actually got a John Jay advisor that you can talk to now and follow up with that information with them, so that you're getting ready for your transfer and making sure that everything's lined up. If you need technical support, right, there's not much I can do with any problems you're having on your computer or a school computer, and so especially if it has to do with Blackboard. So what you have to do is you have to go online, kbcc.cuny.edu, and then open up what's called a help desk ticket. You could email them to set up a help desk ticket, or you can call them. And sometimes, right, you'll just find that it's a simple thing that they can help you with, and sometimes it's more complicated. But again, these are the resources if you're having any technical issues. And then finally, I just want to kind of wrap up with what I'm hoping that you'll achieve and what you can expect from me. When you look at the syllabus, you're probably mostly interested in the course schedule, so that's laid out on page 13. You can kind of set up a calendar and make sure you're keeping everything organized. The grading information is on page 7, so you can kind of remind yourself, this is what I need to be focusing on. and then any services that you want to get taken care of right now, you'll find on page 11. I've been teaching a long time. I've got a lot of experience at the elementary school level, at the adult level, right? And I've been teaching in Kingsborough. I've taught at Barnard, at Columbia. I've been in programs where I help teach teachers, right? So I've got a pretty concrete approach to teaching, and they fall on increasing participation, looking at culturally sustaining practices and multicultural frameworks, providing a space for you to be able to not look at just the ideals of what we want the system to be, but what are some of the problems with this in the system, and start to think about what you might do to address those problems, especially if they affect you or your community. I also am trying to get you to start thinking about injustices in a way that connect to the academic discipline, right, to criminal justice as an academic field, as well as something that you're going to want to do if you're going to become a practitioner, so that you're kind of taking some of the really good theories that exist out there and you're applying them to real world problems, because that's frankly how you're going to be able to get the jobs in the future. Some basic, guidelines here is that I'll do my best to treat you with dignity and respect, and you'll do your best to treat me and your peers with dignity and respect. Everything's nice and organized for you, so it should be pretty clear. You'll try to make sure that you meet the due dates and get active as quickly as possible. We'll talk to each other if we need to. I can set up a Zoom with you if you need additional help. Or if you need to, we can handle it over email. I'm finding students are getting more and more comfortable solving things over email, but it's up to you. I'll be looking to see how you're doing and contacting you and through Starfish, through your advisors, to let you know, maybe you're getting too far behind or maybe you're doing a good job. I want to make sure that you know that. And I've provided as much support as I can, and I'll try to provide more as I kind of think about the ideas or you let me know. And then, let's be patient, right? That sometimes there's technical obstacles that get in our way. Sometimes things that we can't foresee, like COVID and other issues. So nobody's going to be perfect. We're going to make mistakes, and we're all going to be a part of this process together. But hopefully you'll be able to see that law is not maybe what you thought it was, and that constitutional law in particular is a very complicated and difficult class. But I hope that you'll be able to have some fun. And you'll see a different way of analyzing these issues, and you'll learn more about what constitutional law is and how that applies to legal reasoning and what the discipline is asking you to do. Again, if you have any issues or any needs, please reach out to me at my email, jason.leggett@kbcc.cuny.edu. I look forward to working with you, and best of luck.